Okay. Let's see if it's in there. I think yeah, the thingy is in StreamYard, or the StreamYard link is in the description. For some reason, I don't know. For some reason, YouTube or StreamYard or whomever it is doesn't allow me to put the links in the chat anymore. So whatever. Excuse me. Sorry. Re up that. I had I got done with work early, and um, and I don't have to be anywhere until like 6 o'clock. It's 2:35 now. I could take a nap. I already did the dishes, but I don't really want to take a nap. I did the lawn on Monday, and then I just wrote a little something for about my father-in-law, and I don't really have anything else to do. All the laundry's done. I mean, I guess if I really wanted to go all out, I could do more house cleaning, but I really don't want to do that. What up, Ezra? What up? What up, Jan? Oh, Ben's a nasty today. I gotta say, I watched or listened to this morning. I had to kind of wrap up this is a grape pop from St. Louis. But yeah, today I had to wrap up a bathroom, and during the time that I was wrapping that up, I was able to listen to Vanderclay's video, which I really liked a lot. I mean, like I'm this neurotic jackass that, I see the things I see and I hear the things I hear, and I just am triggered because I'm essentially a Karen at heart, and I panic, but then I hear Vanderclay, and he just like says things that makes sense to me, and it kind of like helps me reset a little bit, And we could say that, Chad, you're too biased with the Vanderclay thing, and I'm like, and what? And what? Like, biased at what? That there's a grown ass dude who I can like look up to and kind of take seriously and hopefully learn something from. Yeah, yeah. So maybe I'm a little bit of a fanboy. A little bit of a fanboy. But the thing about it is, I think he's very much something like a friend, and I think when I look at my life and I look at the people that I've been able to meet and come in contact with, there's a lot of chaos, obviously, but there's a lot of really interesting things that end up happening as well. I mean, that people you get to meet, and sometimes I just look at my life and I think, my goodness, you know. Yeah, right. The thing that about that song Neil's mentioning in the comments that says, I listened to that song, now I want a ham sandwich. In the article that I just wrote about my father-in-law, he didn't like a lot of music. He's one of the rare human beings I ever met that just wasn't really into music. And but he loved literature a lot. He wasn't into movies or television. He didn't listen to music. He listened to AA speakers and read a lot of books. Like, that was his thing. But the few songs he did like, one of the songs, because at the the hospice place, they're like, traditionally we walk somebody down. When we walk them out of here, we play music, and you can pick any song you want and whatever. And we were debating, or not debating, but we were talking amongst the family about what songs to play or what song to play. And one of the songs that was brought up was like, so sometimes Anne would bring up that her dad would sometimes sing to her mother, "Hey, good looking, what you got cooking?" Something like that. I think that's a Hank Williams song, but or somebody like that. But yeah, so that one was one song. Another one was I can't remember the names of these songs. But they're like older Western songs like that. And the song that they ended up picking was "Who's Gonna Feed Them Hogs?" That's the name of the song. And it's funny because Mike had a really great sense of humor. Like, he was hilarious. But he had like a dry sense of humor too. And one of the in that song, they talked about a guy who's in a hospital who's like, he's gonna die, and the only thing he's really worried about is who's gonna take care of the hogs. And so we're talking about the picking the song, and we're listening to the song, and and Mike's body is like in the room with us and stuff, which I think is just an incredible experience. And this, the song is about who's going to take care of the hogs, because that's all he's worried about. And it's kind of funny because, and then Anne says, it's funny because the hogs are like the alcoholics, which is funny because Mike cared for thousands of alcoholics. Like he was like a real old timer. Like when I hear about the old timers, like he was a real old timer, and so yeah, it was just funny. But he wasn't a zealot for it. He's just a doer. So, yeah. So what ended up happening was, yeah, Big John is good. I like a lot of those old songs, actually. Yeah, Mike did the shit for sure. And he's a very interesting dude. Very good provider for his family. Two kids that went through Hillsdale and the whole works. I mean, like they were just, and he always wore like he had beef with guys in the rooms that wore ties and shit. Like so if you were like one of those guys who wore a tie at the podium, he might think you're a little weird, and he had his reasons for that. And so I'm one of the guys that likes to wear ties because it's I like wearing a tie. I think, and it was one of the first places that I can actually gain a little bit of self-respect and feel part of. And so that's why I like the tie. And so I come from a different school of thought as it relates to that stuff. But the great part about like that whole tradition of people is that it's only sincere where it matters. And it matters a lot to be sincere, I think, to the kinds of work that you'll end up undergoing and the changes that you'll end up taking. But then there's like this also interesting tension between sincerity and authenticity. And that's a very interesting thing. So, yeah, so So like he was so he, historically it was hard to he was a hard, let's see, the people that were difficult learners when it relates to like games and stuff, because their family loves games. They play like euchre and sheep's head and shit like that, and I have no idea what the hell that is. I know some people might, but it's definitely a Wisconsin thing, and from boomers and some Gen Xers, but one time Mike was trying to teach me how to play Rook or something, and I was just like, I don't fucking know how to play it. And I was getting really pissed. And he just didn't give a shit if you get pissed. That's your problem. You don't get pissed, it's your problem. I'm not good at games. No, I'm not. I like Corkle. That's a fun game. If I'm honest, like I am flawed in so many ways. One of the things that makes it very difficult for me is my inability to formulate arguments that are compelling and strong. And so, part of that is I'm very much like try to create be a so like if I'm offended by something and then I feel the offense and then I like try to like articulate what it is I'm upset by, and then I try to defend that position. I just dig myself a deeper hole, and then I become frustrated with that, and I become unable to. Then I just basically become a rambling dolt who's very immature, and that's just who I am. No, did I just make up that name? Yes, I made up the game. What did I just name it? Corkle. Yeah, I just made that up. Corkle's an interesting game. It's kind of like Monopoly. Not Monopoly. Oh my God, do I hate Monopoly. That's part of the reason why I didn't like games. I can never really win these things. And I'm a bad competitor, I suppose. So Corkle is like it's kind of like it's colors and shapes, and it's kind of like dominoes, but for colors and shapes. So you have 6 colors and 6 shapes, and yeah, that's it. Let's see. I asked Foxman if he had ever seen Pink Floyd's The Wall, and he hadn't. And then he asked, "What do I make of it?" This is the way that you are, the classic crime. What does that mean? understand this classic crime. The owl. Is an owl in there? Kyle Kemper, the owl. How long have I played guitar? I think I was 12. Oh man. Here. Oh man. Come on. Do I gotta let him in?
I'm just here to defend Euchre.
Okay.
But I think also I really appreciate what you were saying about not being a good competitor. Like some people like games and some people don't like games. Because I pretty much will play anything and enjoy it. Although I don't know. I struggle with like there's all the games they sell at Walmart. I feel like are not fun.
Yeah. I think it's like this, bro. I just hate being a loser, and I'm pretty much a loser, and I don't really want to like play games and just continue to like feed my loserness.
Yeah, I suppose I should probably adopt some of that and realize the illusory nature of the winning that I'm doing in all of these games. But that is why I like games, because I win them.
I think this is why I kind of like with guitar. So Megan was asking how long have I played guitar? I played since I was a kid, but I didn't really learn much. Like I learned how to tune the guitar, and then I learned how to kind of like understand how to read tablature. And tabs is like a number-based learning tool for learning guitar parts. and then after that, I just didn't really do any lessons. And most of the learning I did do took place with that little bit that I learned how to tune a guitar, and then like little chords I would pick up here and there. And then I would play I would put like whatever my favorite records on or CDs, and I would just play what sounded correct, not to what they were playing, but like in the same key. And I would just doodle around that way, and that's how I kind of learned how to play. But it's very low cost entry because like it might look virtuous that I could play I can play, but I can't. I don't have a great capacity for learning, so it's kind of like this. It's like this way that I can kind of like, I can look like I can do something, but I actually don't have to learn how to do shit.
Yeah.
But most of the learning that I did do would be like, I would maybe learn like a guitar part from Metallica. Usually it was a Metallica song. And then like I would only know particular parts. And then my buddy would know like this other part, the whole. And I'd be like, oh, you got that other part. And then we'd figure out like we'd learn those parts, and then we just kind of monkey this shit together, and it would be terrible, but that's how I learned how to play guitar, was like that. And that was actually the best way because it was actually a very creative way to learn, and that's how I became a song creator with people. And actually my best songs were always better when it was like with other people.
Do you still write songs?
No, I think the last song I wrote was the problem with like a song like that is that I never wrote it to be performed. So I never had to learn it. So I just made the song and learned it for as long as I needed to remember it and then just throw it out. But I really like that song. It's a meaningful song to me, but it's very meaningful to me. And I'm not like one of those people who's like, oh, I don't really like my music. No, I like the music that I wrote like a lot. I don't know if that's self-centered or whatever, but like the songs that I wrote them for a reason and they mean something, and I like the way they sound and I like the way they feel when I play them. Um, so I'm not very humble as it relates to like being a creative person because I think that I'm not the one who creates this shit anyways. So
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It's interesting. Do you feel like you maybe haven't created because of the like embodied community that it sounds like it's changed like from
No. So what happened was I spent like from the time I was 12 to about 30, I spent almost every day kind of like in a very embodied, mindful obsession with music. And it was very much a part of my identity. And when when I my life burned down uh, by imposed self-imposed crisis, there was a lot of re evaluating what is valuable. And to me, at that time, I feel like I had abused the gifts that God had given me, and so I just wasn't prepared to really deal with them anymore because I felt like I had been ungrateful and unworthy to not in like a self-effacing way, just in like a really realistic way. I just felt like I had been like um, it. The link is in the description if anybody wants to know. Um, I had felt like I had been disrespectful to the thing, and so I just at that point I couldn't even help anymore. The whole desire to even play it went out the window,
yeah.
and so I didn't really do anything with it. And it was only until going on house arrest where my sister in law brought me like uh, watercolors and some blank paper, and that's where I kind of learned to fall in love with creativity again because like I couldn't at that time, and I've told this story before, but I at the time I couldn't. The very end of my like hitting bottom, I couldn't even listen to my most favorite music without being so hypercritical of it. You
Mm.
know, I was just so like um what's up, Tim? I was so hypercritical of it that I couldn't even like enjoy even the music that I grew up on.
Did you catch Kalia's Rando?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of reminding me of the way that he felt like he enjoyed other people's suffering because it was like their initiation into the world that as he saw it.
Hmm.
And he even wanted to participate in that in a sort of like dark evangelism.
Yeah, this was I don't know if I would characterize it in the same exact thing. I think it was more like it's more of a know-it-allism that I have.
Yeah,
I think that's really what it is, and it's kind of like this egoic kind of like I could
it's
tell you facts and stuff about something, or I have very strong opinions, and they separate me from my fellows. Is basically what happens.
yeah. I was gonna say it's hyper modern, like the separation of the component parts of a song that you love, rather than the participation with that beautiful thing that was created. You know, like the know-it-allism is to say, this is what the song is, and this is why that's not a good thing. And it's some form of it seems like attempt to empower yourself or feel like self idolatry or some sort of narcissism because I definitely I feel that way a lot sometimes, and
I don't know. Maybe that's the
it's
case, but I don't think. Listen, I don't think that I can categorize it as that because like you would ask me like what is this 12 years ago now, is this a hyper modern problem? or is this a modern problem? I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like seriously, like a modern problem? No, it's just a me problem. This is just me. I'm afraid of everything, and I don't know how to just sit with things and let people be who they are. I don't know if that's like a modern problem. And listen, I don't want to be rude. Like I really don't, Ian, because I think that you've made a nice venture and you're playing really well with others and you're on this journey. But after a while, I just don't give a fuck about those terms anymore. I just don't because like I can't. To me, that those are such like these. All they are categories of like of ideas. They're not actually how I live, and so I don't really try to.
Yeah.
I do use words like modernism and shit like this sometimes, but mostly as little as possible because they are not they are not actually who we are. I know they help us for categorizing and seeing where each other is at. So I don't want to be too shitty. I don't mean to say that. So I hope I'm not being rude to you. I'm not trying to be. I'm just
No.
trying to be an honest look at me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it definitely lets
I
you go. I'll say that much. But even that
I think
word, I don't like it.
yeah. I think that's a good point, and it's well received on my end. I think Tim should talk though.
Yeah, dude.
I was going to say, Chad, I can't believe you said that. Apologize immediately.
Fuck.
Thanks, Tim.
I will apologize when dude, I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. But I love
No.
your glasses, dude. Fuck, those are sick, dude.
Appreciate it. All my friends, when they saw me wear these for the first time, they were like, "Absolutely not, absolutely not. You are not going to be walking around wearing those." And I was like, "I'm going to go buy a pack of 50 because."
Dude, that's great, dude. Were you at the dog park or were you in the stream?
I'm on the way now to the park. Blue has to go see all the snakes. He's memorized where all the snakes go. So he found 3 yesterday. Today maybe we'll find a few more.
Nice. But okay, so to kind of point back to maybe I don't know, Tim, maybe you've had what's your relationship with art like with creativity?
Well, I kind of blew it on a first date recently because we were talking about hobbies and art and stuff, and she was like, "Are you an artist?" And I, I did the typical Tim thing of like, actually, I don't think someone can call themselves an artist actually, because I think other people can call you an artist, but you should never call yourself an artist. And if you do, it makes you not an artist, and you have to work again to become an artist. She was like, "Yeah, okay, that's weird." And I was like, "Yeah, that is really weird. That's a really weird thing for someone to say,
I'm an artist.
And then I proceeded to show her all this art that I make, and it was like, "But I'm not an artist, It's like, what the and then I spent the rest of like the next 48 hours being like, "Stupid, stupid, stupid, stupid," as I'm waiting for her text to come in, which never did. So like, I don't know. I think art sucks. Like for a long time, I've thought that art sucks, and I suck because I don't understand it. Because everybody who's smarter and more accomplished and richer than me seems to all understand something about art that I don't. And then I recently saw like a TikTok clip of some guy giving a lecture at a very fancy marble whatever institution, and he was just talking about like, I studied to become a sculptor and I didn't become a sculptor because none of the modern stuff looked like what I was taught beauty looked like. Like a pile of bricks is not a sculpture. Like the statue of David is a sculpture. And like he was kind of breaking down like everything that I had felt and hadn't been able to articulate of like, yeah, like there's a reason that you walk into the Hirshhorn and it all looks like shit. It's because it doesn't look good. These artists, they couldn't produce the statue of David, they couldn't produce the Sistine Chapel, and they couldn't even get close. So, but when, there's a George Carlin clip about conspiracies where, like, you don't need a formal conspiracy when all of the people go to the same school and then they work at the same office and then they go to the same parties and they recreate in the same clubs and then their kids go to the same schools and then, like, you don't need to all meet once a week to decide how you're going to engage in some sort of takeover of a group or an institution or a space. The conspiring occurs naturally, and if all these people all go to some elite art school, even if it's not the same one, right? Like, it could be a dozen different art schools. They all go to the same art schools, and then they all experience the same lack of productivity and success doing anything of worth. The things that they do produce, they can then naturally sort of abscond a certain amount of, like, green lighting from their other friends that went to journalism school and their other friends that went to film school, because eventually, like, one thing I found is that nobody actually, like, ever graduates anything. It's just whoever's sticking around in the room long enough. Like, when I was doing stand-up comedy, like, I noticed that, like, a lot of the stand-up comedians that ended up becoming more and more and more successful were just the ones that could outlast the meat grinder of it. And then once you get to a certain level, talent does rise. But, like, the bottom rung of anything is just perseverance. You just got to stick through it. And, like, have you ever been to a jazz meetup? Have you ever been to a poetry reading? It fucking sucks. And the people that go there suck. But if you can stick through that, you'll be a poet eventually, because everyone left because they had sense. Anyways,
That's funny.
she never called me. That's the bottom line. I blew it on my first date.
Dude, you should just send her your ear or something.
Yeah.
That was a really low-hanging fruit joke about that one painter guy, Van Gogh, but it was a bad joke. Most of my jokes. I only ever wrote one good joke, and yeah. Do you want me to tell you the joke?
I do.
Okay. So there's these two. One day I was standing out and I was looking up, and I seen this goose, and the goose was flying with another goose, and so yeah, no, I fucked the joke up.
I thought of a joke the other day that would work like as a stand-up joke, but it would only work, like, here in the DC area, because everyone's, like, very, I don't know, like, the audiences are, or at least they used to be, very sort of one way, and, like, I it's part of a set, so, like, at the end of the set I'm like, all right, I got this last joke, but see if I can get through it. And I'm like, you know what I really hate about women? And, like, the audience will pull back, and I'll be like, because they're so stupid, right? And then people will be like, boo, and I'll be like, oh, sorry, I messed up the joke. I mean, Republican women, right? Sorry, give me another shot. And, like, I just keep going. I'm like, you know what I hate about gays? And then I'll, like, say something else. I'll be like, oh, no, sorry. I mean, Republican gays. I keep messing it up. And then it has this really great punchline, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see how that would work out.
What's the punchline?
I can't say it on the internet.
Oh, okay. Okay, I remember the joke. You want me to tell you the joke?
Yeah. I feel like we're still in it.
Okay. I need you. I'm gonna put you still. You can still stay here, but I'm gonna solo myself. Okay.
All right, do it.
Okay.
Two gooses.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is. One day, there's these two geese, and they're flying, and they're just hanging out, and they're just going along, and it's a very gorgeous night, and they're just going And then look at this stuff. And the one goose turns the other goose and he says, ha! 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 That's the joke.
I found that joke to be rather foul.
Oh, I like it. Very good. That was a really terrible joke. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I got a feeling that I usually get when I read like American Gothic literature is like I don't really understand it, but I'm sure there's like a deeper meaning there.
Like, you mean like Cormac McCarthy, like that Gothic, or
Well,
Flannery?
not like not pedophilic literature, more like Catcher in the Rye, where it's like it seems to be about absolutely nothing, but I'm sure there's something here that I can glean.
Yeah, Cormac McCarthy was a little weird, but I like his books.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. I looked into it pretty heavily, like trying to find the sort of the nuance to it or the details that would make it like less bad. And it's like, no, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm like I said, I like the books. And I'm not afraid to say that I like the books.
I think Bill Cosby is one of the greatest stand-up comedians that ever existed. I mean, I can still recite many of his like earlier albums. I don't know what to do about that. I guess I should hit myself in the head real hard until I forget.
That's a thing, right? I think what's his nuts? Brett Weinstein Eric Weinstein talked about that, about geniuses. How like oftentimes geniuses are like they have these really bad kind of backgrounds, other than Jesus, of course. But Jesus did say like I guess to his people were like weird stuff. So there's that, I guess.
I guess I would say Jesus's genius flowed through the purity of his vessel, like his body and stuff, and then the sort of like dark side of genius would be a drive that is so pressurized by the darkness of your past that you become pure enough for the muse to flow through in a strange way, like the purity of chaos or something like that. Because like rock stars get pretty gnarly too, but they have no problem channeling the muse,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to bring up my stand-up comedy career that is currently paused, if not over. But I feel like in many ways it was an arena for me to express some form of creativity, but also like insightful critique and comments on culture. And so like I have my YouTube channel and I kind of thrive in that space. I will say it's a little bit like, I don't know, like talking about working out or something. Like going up for sets is way more rigorous than doing a podcast, because there's not the expectancy of like bits, but there is some form of performance aspects to it. So there is still like a desire for quality. But I thought that was funny because before you said the reason, before you said what happened about like being critical about the music, I kind of thought you were going in that direction. Because for me, comedy is sort of like, it was kind of an unhealthy cope with the way that I was living my life. So I would just like have a one night stand that was utter disaster because I was like blacking out that night, and then I would talk about it in a silly way, and everybody would laugh, and that would sort of like redeem it in my eyes. And so then I was like, well, I like writing jokes and all, but I don't want to. I'm not mining for material the same way I used to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found it very difficult to just write like jokes. Whereas like the reason I tried it was because was told by many people that I should do it because I'm very funny like at parties or conversationally. But I couldn't translate it to a like contextless scenario.
Yeah, that's why Rogan talks about the hypnosis. Like you have to get the audience in your head. I have the same, I would say the same experience. Everybody says that I'm funny, although now the experience is I paid for comedy classes at Second City, and so everybody ridicules me for, oh, I thought like if a joke doesn't land, I thought this guy went to comedy school. I thought you were professionally trained, and so that's my life now. It's fine. My 1.5-year-old son thinks I'm funny, and so I'm relegated to dad funny now.
Interesting. You could like the concept that you could teach somebody how to be funny.
yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam.
Yeah, I think interestingly, I think that it's the whole dude. It's so weird. Like the last several years have like the way that the market the attention economy has accumulated in Austin, Texas. Is ridiculous to me. Oh, look at that! I like this. Yeah, dude, that's a cool. Let's do that. So you don't have to look at us. Yeah, dude. So
can we get a landscape shot there, Timmy?
So yeah, like the idea that like the whole
gorgeous
whatchamacallit, the attention economy has been shaped by these these ideas of like we're going to call out ideology and we're going to call out like we're going to basically talk about meaning and purpose and stuff and like this whole idea of this turning into like a market for like these things has been very interesting to me because like people kind of used ideology as like this whole market. Like they actually marketed people based on their ideologies and then said it wasn't ideology. And so I mean even guys like Rogan and stuff. I mean, like I like Rogan and this stuff, but there was like a whole the Scenius thing is very interesting. Maybe that's what I want to get into. Like the Scenius, the way that Scenius is taken over in a real way. These kinds of it's almost like this weird, desperate marketing scheme. And so you got all this whole kind of down in the city of Austin, Texas, you got podcasters who are like bodybuilders, MMA guys, and comedians, and also like half-ass autodidacts. And they like created this whole market. And like, how do you keep that market alive is how I wonder. So yeah, that's a weird idea. Maybe a little bit of a ramble. But I think it's also related back to what Tim was talking about. Like if all your all you guys go to the same places, you all go to the same restaurants, you all hang out at the same places all the time. Like there's no conspiracy. It's just like there's a mob consciousness Congress that kind of takes over. But now it happens there. Now they're doing it on YouTube, and I don't know if I'm making any damn sense.
I'm tracking. I was going to bring up the evangelical industrial complex in the sense that like Christian music or Christian media is also something that's, I mean, they're using the formula of an ideology based market. And I don't know, like, I think, like, I wish you could just reduce the categories to writing about a certain subject, or even that just gets weird. But like, you know, like Christian parenting advice or Christian, you know, sports novels. I don't know. It gets hyper specific, but I don't know if that's concurrent
Yeah,
with what you're thinking. But
it kind of, but it's more of like it's actually kind of like a weird, it's anti-ideological
oh
ideology.
yes, like the red pill or whatever. So you're moving away from the wokeness, and that's your defining characteristic.
Yeah, that's going to be actually the marketplace. That's going to be the prime market that they're going to be. That's going to be the prime stream that they're going to be sifting for gold in. And meanwhile, our dumbasses were like really down in that stream for years, just thinking this is the greatest thing ever. And then
Yeah.
and then like, oh, and I could do it too, and so like I'm gonna
Yeah.
move to Austin and I'm gonna be a comedian slash, the problem is I'm not funny. I'm too fat and lazy to get in the gym, and I certainly don't have the kind of intellectual horsepower to be a true autodidact. So I'm just gonna do it over here in Wisconsin, where I set tile and be a kind of an opinionated jackass.
Yes. But I think you're pointing out a hole in the market, right? Because like, if that's the market, then if you don't slot into those spaces, then, or figure out how to create your own niche, then you're the customer, or slash you're the product. Like you are that market. And so then people find themselves falling into the consumer space. And I think that's a cool thing about the TLC is like, even though we're not rising above to the level where we're producing content nationally, or I mean, I guess we are technically internationally.
But pause there for a moment, because here's the thing. This is what's interesting. The market that's the prime market right now for this kind of stuff was the germination of those seeds took place right here, right in the corner.
Yeah.
And so now that's like, we're just like, this is why I think, maybe this is kind of a narcissistic thing, but the corner is like 3 years ahead of the market. But that's because we germinated the market. And so that makes me very suspicious of even my interests now. So things like writing and stuff, where I'm like, oh, I can actually go on Substack and write the story or write poetry and post it and people will read it. It's like, is that actually me being sincere to, or I'm sorry, or sincere or authentic in a real way? Or is this actually just me? Like, like if you watch like a detective show, when you watch a detective show, they'll have like clues that they give throughout the show, and you'll get the sneaking suspicion that you're actually solving the crime. But no, what's actually happening is you're just following a really good writer who's giving you all the right clues at just the right time in the most subtle way, and you're solving the crime as you go, but you think you're the one doing it. And so that's what I think is what's happening now. It's like, am I actually a writer, or am I actually just kind of like a chump who falls for the fucking bait every time?
Yeah. Like Substack obviously wants us to be producing content because it's driving traffic to them, and even ourselves. Like we go on to check our stats, but then we're also just like poking around to see either our friends or the people that we follow. They want you to be a user of the product more than anything. And so if they can make you think that you can write, but this is kind of a very cynical way of looking at it too, because it's like, well, I guess maybe not. I was going to say, and then I have to go. that's a really good question, and I feel like you should write and then maybe like give it to your friends. And so, in a weird way, through TLC, you are doing that. But like, if you wrote and then produced physical copies and then handed or mailed them to people that you know, it would still be getting read. Um, it's just way easier to use the technology, you know. So I don't know that you're necessarily doing the thing that you're worried about, but it is good to worry,
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm not
All right, goodbye,
deeply
guys.
worried about it. See you, dude. Yeah, I'm not deeply worried about it. I just think like it's something that has crossed my mind because that's just kind of like how I think sometimes. And yeah, so I'm not like, oh, like completely captured by this strange idea, but it has crossed my mind. Because like on Substack there was like aw, look at that puppy. Maybe we should get this guy out of here. Let's get him out. Get out of here. Kick from studio. Bye bye.
Did he die?
He said he was gonna leave.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, my battery is almost expired. So
all right. Well, are you rolling out? It's beautiful, beautiful puppy.
just checking to see if the cows are here. They're in a different pasture.
Yeah, it's really good looking dog, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad I could hop on and say hello.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, I mean, like even if nobody reads what you're writing on Substack, the writing itself is making you a better writer. And you don't know what opportunities may come along in the future, but if one does, you'll already have all those reps under your belt and you'll be able to lift a car.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, and again, I think it's probably going to boil. Some of this is boiling down to just kind of like, I think falling into categories of markets is an inevitable thing in the world that we live in. And I mean, and like I saw this when I noticed that there's like, I don't know. There's probably like I can invent a category right now, and it's probably true. There's probably like some crazy ass mountain climber out there who's super famous in the mountain climbing world, and who has millions of fans, who makes a really great living doing mountain climbing, right? And like it's just like he or she or whatever, and we've never even heard of this person, right? But they have like a whole world of like attention economy, a whole market there to draw from. Or let's say there's like whatever, like some super famous toy maker who makes custom toys from nothing, and he has millions of fans and a really deep market for his own thing. Maybe there's even like a whole subculture of toy makers out there that, and they, and it's like, and we've never even heard of them, and they have millions and millions of fans. It's just the same thing can be said for, mariachi singers and metal bands and oil painters and custom clothes makers and famous cooks and whatever. It's like, so I think that no matter what, if you kind of decide to participate in the world that we participate in, which has all these kinds of tools, it's inevitable that you're just going to kind of maybe be what's the word, influenced into certain corners of interest. And if you are somebody who is, I don't know, has gumption to participate at some level, then you'll play at that level. And there are probably even like categories of stuff that people are participating that they think nothing about it,
Yeah, I think on some level, there's a huge difference between being famous to like 1,000 people and being famous to 1 million people.
Definitely.
And I sort of think that to become famous to 1 million people, you kind of gotta want that and sort of work towards that as a goal. Like, separate from your craft. And so
Mhm.
now when I see somebody becoming famous, I'm like, I don't think they're getting famous because like I know that, if I don't know them from their craft, like, Oliver Anthony with his country music,
Yeah.
like there was really nothing remarkable about him or his music. And so the fact that I heard about him before his video dropped, and then it got pushed to my feed, right? It's like I got primed, and then I got fed, and I just, skyrocketed. It's like, okay, well, somebody decided that was going to be a thing, and that was going to be
Fudge
famous.
Rounds people.
Yeah.
It was a big fudge round.
I think the only thing that was remarkable about that guy was how much of a bitch he was. I mean,
Dude,
he just cried so much about shit. I'm just like, and it wasn't true. What really upset me about it was I knew that I should like the song because kind of there's something about the song that was technically interesting and good, and yet I couldn't stand like the victim shit that was going on in that song, basically.
rich men north of Richmond. I assume you're talking about the horse farms, or you're talking about the agricultural farms, or maybe you're talking about the chicken farms, or maybe you're not talking about farmers in general. Okay, you must be talking about the gold
song.
mines then, or the cadmium mines, or the copper mines, or lithium mines. You're going to talk about that. Okay, what else is north of Richmond? Let's see.
No, what bothered me wasn't anything about north of Richmond. What bothered me was like, dude, it's like, what about just like in your house where you are? Maybe that's.
I like how it was like, what can I pick on? And it's like, well, I'm not fat. I am poor. I am a drunk. I do have all these, but I'm not fat. So you know whose fault it is? It's the fudge round people.
Yeah.
Which people?
He
Fudge round.
blames the people who buy fudge, like his tax dollars, which it's unclear if he was paying them at the time, they shouldn't go to pay for people to buy fudge rounds. It's like the one group he dunks on in the song is like.
But what is the word you're saying? Fudge rounds?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a food in a food desert.
It's a food.
Yeah.
Oh, like a moon pie or
it's like it's
Little
a
Debbie
oatmeal cream pie, but with fudge.
Yeah, we have these disgusting cookies made here in Maryland called burgers, Bergers, and like everyone's like, oh, they're so good. I'm like, yeah, kinda. Like if you're really, really hungry, but it's like you said, it's kind of like, is this food?
You know what's really good, dude? This is really good. I'm going to tell you guys some really good shit. If you ever go out west, I don't know if they still have them out there. Maybe somebody in California can tell me if they still exist. They're called It's, and they are 2 cookies with ice cream in the middle, and they have different flavors of, it could be oatmeal cookies with like whatever, chocolate or maple ice cream. Dude, the It's are the shit. Dude, now you got that line, the old fudge rounds. I can't remember how it goes.
I'm pretty sure I said this on your last live stream, but I'll say it again for anyone who didn't hear it. Breyer's Ice Cream has removed the words ice cream from the package.
Why?
Think about that. Like, and that's part of my
cream.
It's like a frozen dairy product.
Right.
But like people are like, what do you think we need to do to like take back the country or like fix the government or fix our homes or whatever? I'm like, nah, it's hopeless. And they're like, why would you say that? And it's like, go look at a package of Breyer's ice cream.
Yeah, render unto little Debbie.
What'd you call it? Frozen product?
Frozen dairy product. Frozen dairy dessert.
So that reminds me of like a Peugeot. That's like a Peugeot argument. People don't eat frozen dairy products. They eat ice cream. It's like you don't drink H2O, you drink water. Like that. Is that H2O or is that water?
Oh, you got one
Sorry.
snake. You get him?
Ezra, go.
Yeah, I think we're like that just got me thinking that we're the frozen dairy product equivalent of humans now.
Yeah.
Like we can't put human on the label anymore.
No.
We're too cyborged out and dependent on the dream world.
Simian life form.
Exactly.
That reminds me, actually, this morning, Chris Howard brought, or no, maybe it was Tunji was on there. He said how humans aren't animals. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I never liked when people would say something like, humans are animals, but not animals. I feel like we got some ADD shit going on here, bro. I like it. Ezra, what else you got in your mind?
I don't know. I was just mailing beholders and to the people who get these.
Blue.
They are the worst. It's probably the worst possible tape job that could be done to a box. So I just want you to take a second and enjoy that, and think about what kind of a simian life form could have taped up this box for mailing. And the answer is me.
Nice. Okay. Did you ever do the whatchamacallit? The Alien Salience project that Grim Grizz once had?
No.
So the idea is, and I'll give you the solo screen if you want to give it a shot. It's where you encounter an alien, or you bye Tim. So the idea is you tell the alien what a human is.
Mm.
There's like a whole bunch of those videos that he had. There are a bunch of different people gave like their own version of the Alien Salience project. It's a fun one.
Yeah, that might need to be looked into.
Yeah. Petcaw did win the challenge. It was really good. Want to give it a shot?
Wow. I mean, this comes to mind. Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably just say we're the ones who make the TV shows. And, we expect you have many questions. We cannot answer those questions, but we can make more TV shows. Would you like some more TV shows?
Very good. Thank you. That was very well done. And yes, I would like some more TV shows. Thanks.
What was the last TV show?
The last TV show?
Yeah. I don't
That
think they
one?
seem like shows anymore.
Well, I have this theory. I don't know if I ever expressed my theory to TV shows and where it landed. So much of the medium that we know as television shows is born out of Procter and Gamble. And so this goes back to radio. And back in the day when radio was first around, like way around, like way back in the day, there's like this whole experiment. There was an accident that happened over at Procter and Gamble where they made a bad batch of soap, and they couldn't throw the shit out because it would be a waste of money. So they packaged it and they sold it. And they sold it as white soap, and then the marketing guy was like, "Well, also do this. Sell it under this name, Ivory. You see how it does in the marketing." And so they sold the same soap under two different labels, and Ivory won out. And it's the soap that floats. Okay. What ended up happening was they eventually made so much money that, and when radio came out, they saw a place of an attention market where they can actually reach out to women in the homes, because this is the industrial thing was happening. Dad was working out into wherever, and then mom would be at home and she would have radio. And then they realized that they could do their own product placement and put their products in these commercials. And they invented the thing called soap operas. That's where soap opera comes from. And so those were all like these long form. They were actually long form shows. So they were serials. And that's the beginning. Eventually, Procter and Gamble actually owned their own studios in television, and they would make television shows that were soap operas, daytime television. And the thing about them is that they were long form. So you would have shows that would run on for years, and they would have like this whole narrative, and it wasn't episodic. It was like a continuously running story. So then after, like they started doing episodic shows and stuff like this, soap operas kind of became not taken too seriously for a long time. Well, then I think what happened leading up to COVID, but basically episodic shows are dead now, and the only thing that exists are soap operas.
Yeah.
And so soap operas won. And
And
Procter and Gamble owns all of the products under your kitchen sink and in your bathroom medicine cabinet, as well as various other things.
Well, now like network TV is all like pharma ads and a lot of streaming is all pharma. So they own they own things inside you.
Yeah, I imagine that's true, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens when pharma does pharma operas?
Yeah, I think that's what we have now. That's what we
Pharma
currently
operas?
have. Yeah.
Do you think that the pharma companies are actually do they actually own some studios, do you think?
Well, they do all the advertising.
Yeah.
Like they most network TV doesn't make enough money. The 24-hour news stations don't make enough money on their own. But the ad revenue is like more than it would make sense to advertise, because pharma then controls the media. So I think the pharma operas are just the news. Like if you've watched the news, then that was the pharma opera.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because the news can have all sorts of physiological effects on your body too.
Like sand through the hourglass.
Yeah. Pharma ads are illegal up here. Yeah, well, killing ourselves legally is illegal down here.
That's the trade. That makes some kind of sense.
Well, that's the best joke we had all day. It's kind of weird. Was that what he was talking about like having blackout one night stands and joking about it? Was that kind of like that kind of a joke? Do you think?
What?
Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
But yeah, okay. So you have soap opera, pharma operas are really
Oh
weird.
yeah. I was gonna say like maybe then to the aliens, we could really just be like, well, it depends how desperate we want to be. We could just be like, hey, we've been asleep for a really long time, you know. But unfortunately, I don't think that the aliens are gonna bail us out.
I think you'd have to do a psyop on the Salience project. That'd probably be the real move to do. Psyop them somehow. If you could figure out how to, what would be salient for a nice alien psyop?
Yeah, it's like we'd have to be like, hey, you in order to understand us, you really need to consume our media.
Watch more television.
Right.
Have
And
you
then
seen
we got them.
Days of Our Lives?
Yeah. We're like, yeah. Hope and Bo, those were characters.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Whoa. Oh, my mom's calling. Uno momento. Uh-oh.
Donate to McMo's Ko-Fi. I don't believe in the aliens.
There was like 3 phone calls and crazy. Thanks
Cool.
for holding it down.
Sure.
Holding it down. So yeah, I don't even know. Like when I try to imagine, like even like 10 years out, as it relates to uh, uh like leisure and entertainment, it seems like I don't know. Like like where is it going? Like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like will there be television even? I mean, or is it all gonna be like I don't know.
I think we've been at war for a long time. So, like, there was this idea when COVID was getting going. I think it was like Brett Weinstein or something was saying, you could think of war as just a period of great uncertainty.
Hmm.
And if war is a period of great uncertainty, then like we are in World War III, and it's been happening this whole time. And then if you think about the spiritual warfare stuff, Jordan Hall, whatever, then it's like, yeah, World War III, bro. Like it's on. It's been happening. We're deploying weapons of mass destruction at scale. They're called LLM, and it's hard to predict what things are going to be like in a few years. So I've started to think that the whole thinking about 10 years from now, maybe not that helpful.
So okay, how does one win the World War III in this kind of a battle? I have an idea, but I'd like to hear your idea.
Yeah, I think it's the same way it's always been. So it's with the pure heart there, something, the spirit, and I think the point of the way I think about like what to do is grow that spirit of true friendship, and that will affect the cosmic background religion.
Yeah.
I think that's about all you can do.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah. So practically what that unfolds to me is kind of like it kind of reminds me. Did you ever read um, It by Stephen King?
What?
The Stephen King book It.
No, I didn't.
Okay. There's this scene in there where like basically it's just an old idea that in order to beat the demon, whatever the demon is, you just laugh at it. You like turn it into a joke. I think even Harry Potter has like something like this.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think it's something like that, like it's you don't see the black in the black pill. You see what I mean? You're just kind of like, oh, it's a pill, kind of thing. And it's hard not to be sucked in. That's the thing. If you kind of fall into an attention gap, and you don't realize that it's a simulation, then yeah, it's hard to not see the black in the black pill. You know.
Definitely think laughter is connected to the spirit because you ha 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 aha. So aha is insight, and it's also the spirit coming out of you.
Whoa. It's like
as opposed
Well,
to
well-
which is take in a breath, which is that's horror. So it's like horror and awe.
I was, I was thinking of like what would the laughter version be, like or something like that, or yeah, no, it's
I love the idea of laughter that is so extreme that it becomes manic, and then it's literally like ha 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 it's something that I find funny.
that's funny. It's like, but I really love that idea of like the spirit compelling the body into joy or expressing joy, because it's like an overflow of insight, or something like that. The aha 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 kind of thing. Yeah. Recently, Carolyn started laughing at my farts, so that's pretty fun. But it's not like it's more like and then that's it. So I know that might be too much information. I shouldn't even. Why am I doing that? Why am I saying? Why am I doing that whole disclaimer?
Well, it's
Oh,
interesting because
yeah.
like a kid can't, or like does she laugh because it's like presumably she might not laugh that it sounds like a trombone. It's like something more fundamental to it is fundamentally funny,
Yeah.
but it's also the body language and behavior of the people.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Kind of two ways. Because I think part of it is communal. Because when I fart, I laugh because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
So it might be that she think that she's just likes doing what Dad does, and then Dad laughs at her laughter, and so there's a currency there of some sort, like a shared, like a shared thing, like uh where, oh, Dad pays attention to me. I mean, I'm always paying attention to her, but he really pays attention in this particular way, which I like, where he laughs. So it's funny because it's not like it's not a hysterical laugh that she has. She just goes, huh, and then doesn't laugh at it anymore.
That makes perfect sense to me though, because it's like if my laughter is desired, then it's like, well, I'm not going to give you too much. Like I gotta watch you. So, but yeah, but farts are the laughter of the anus.
Oh,
The spirit of the intestine.
I don't know why I always found that stuff to be funny. It just, but I think bathroom humor is always been funny to me.
I think it's interesting that it's called scatological. And so then in the corner, like everybody's always talking about eschatology all the time and eschatological. And then I was like, are they talking about potty humor? But they're actually talking about the end of the world.
I
Are
think
those different?
didn't I think Tom Holland makes this joke often about scatological humor.
Does
The
he?
exact joke you just made. Is that where you got that, or
No.
you just came up with that? Yeah, I mean it's like a mimetic ass joke or something,
Yeah.
or
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's just the end. So I assume that scatological is about the end of the
oh,
person, and then
dude,
eschatology is about the end of everything,
yeah, dude,
right?
yeah. I can't believe we have 15 people watching this.
Here's my confusion about eschatology.
Yeah,
Because there's like the universalists and the eternal conscious torments and whatever. But I just think about how you put the milk in the coffee. and then it becomes coffee milk. It doesn't like turn into milk, and it doesn't all turn into coffee either. So, what does it mean that the future will be coffee milk? And then it's like weird because like the scientists basically say the exact same thing because they're saying it might, the universe might end in this big freeze where everything kind of like heat death, which is very similar to what happens when it becomes coffee milk in like the laws of thermodynamics. And then it's almost weird because then it's like the physicists are arguing because sometimes they're like, well, maybe there'll be a new universe. And that's like their eschatology theory. But then some people say it just ends. Anyway, I never understood eternal conscious torment because I thought eternity was the moment.
Hmm.
So if eternity is the the moment, the present, then it seems like there's got to be eternal conscious torment because there's conscious torment.
Well, that seems like a quality issue rather than a quantity issue.
But maybe not.
Maybe
Like,
not
maybe
a
there's
quality
never
issue?
eternal conscious torment. Maybe you're only tormented in the past or future and never in the present.
Hmm. Oh, like a reflective conscious torment? Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say to any of that.
Me either.
I do know that I am looking forward to having a bonfire.
I'm looking forward to coming to that bonfire.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, dude. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I mean, it might suck. You never know, but who
I
cares?
mean, it's possible.
Like, yeah, I mean, shit. If it rains, I got the denim dinner table down here. People can hang out. We can have that. You can have pork belly and brats and potato salad and shit. That'd be cool. Hey, conversation. Maybe we can watch Mr. Rogers. I don't know. I'm kind of over the Mr. Rogers thing. I only like Mr. Rogers right now when Carolyn's watching Mr. Rogers. That's the fun part.
I only liked when Mr. Rogers would like go to places in the town and meet the people, and I found the puppets disturbing. And I found it mildly disturbing that he changes his shoes when he comes in the house.
Yeah.
It
But,
it
yeah.
it just seemed like OCD or something.
Yeah, he had inside shoes and outside shoes. There are a couple strange observations I've had about or thoughts. Mr. Rogers having like two families. You ever hear of like back in the day? You might hear of a guy has like a family over on one side of town with the wife and kids, and then a secret family on the other side of town, wife and kids. Like that's so. Mr. Rogers has his neighborhood family, and they're like a secret, kind of like my family doesn't know I podcast kind of thing, whatever this is, it's a podcast. But it's like the secret life of Mr. Rogers, where it's like he's only there for a little bit to say hi, and then he zooms off and goes be with his other family in real life. And then, but the other thing that I found very interesting was all of the different places he would visit in town that were factories. Like, I don't think any of those kinds of jobs exist anymore in America, which is like a weird historical account of this was what life was like at one time in America. It looked like this with factories. And this is how your balloons are made or how your straws are made or, whatever.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. And they're not wearing like safety glasses and shit, so they're not dominated by like insurance companies, which is also very interesting. So like Mr. Rogers today would be like what would that look like? It would be like a global show
Well, I guess
where
yeah,
he
you'd go to like Amazon warehouse and the Tesla factory.
and then travel like zoom off to China or check out like some factories there and the conditions in which they are. And yeah, that would be really strange.
But it's interesting that that is what stuck with me was those little like documentary almost like things, which in some ways were, I mean, there's like a phoniness to them. But it was interesting the idea of like just that he's friendly because they would kind of play it like I'm just visiting my friends at the zoo or whatever, you know.
Mhm.
And there was something about that that was very compelling.
Well, I think like I want to look at it through like a kind of like the mind of an inquisitive child. Where does stuff get made? How is things made? And so I think it's an interesting approach, like um, giving
It's,
an
it might.
invitation. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking it might be like a false memory, but I seem to have this memory that that he did something with like the postal service or like visiting the postal workers,
Well,
and
he had a
that
dude.
I used to go with my dad to the little small town post office, and I was sort of aware that it's not like the show. Like this,
Mm,
it felt different than the show, and I think I remember the smell of our post office,
oh,
and you couldn't smell the show.
yeah, yeah. That kind of like almost a poric, like an aporic kind of awakening to the dissonance of entertainment and reality. I remember having some stuff like that too, just kind of like around productions, like television show productions or movie productions, like being kind of confused about Forrest Gump a little bit. Like, is that a real person? Like, not is Tom Hanks acting, but like, yeah, like I had some kind of like almost like Santa Claus moments, like where you can't discern if Santa is real or not. So I
Yeah.
had some of that stuff going on. And it's interesting to do that where, yeah, you go to your actual post office and you kind of have like a Santa Claus isn't real moment there as it relates to Mr. Rogers. But like in Rogers' defense, he does, if you were to watch the show, like all of the episodes, and get all of the facts and figures, you would find that he would tell you this is not real.
Right, right.
You
And
know,
Santa Claus does exist, by the way. But
yeah.
I was thinking about how it works both ways, though, with media, because media is kind of like a dream world too. But like it works both ways because like I like Star Trek, The Next Generation. Okay, and it's very interesting Star Trek because it's not real and it doesn't like pretend to be real, and it's trying to depict this like future. And it's one of those rare things because sci-fi is typically like about things going horribly wrong in the future.
Mhm.
And they say that that Star Trek was kind of one of the more utopian, or it's like supposed to be positive. But then it is interesting because in order to write that, they have to imagine what it would be like, this thing that's not existed before, and then they have to make decisions about like what it should be like, and then they're kind of interesting because you know you could watch Star Trek and be like, well, they're communists. There's no money. It's like a flat society. Nobody has to work, whatever. But then it's like, but they have ranks. like it's the military. Like they have like military ranks and the most strict hierarchy you could possibly have, and no money. That's interesting. That when we tried to think about how things could be better, we imaginally play with this stuff, and then that stuff ends up affecting reality. Now that could be negative, like we get it wrong, and then we all try to imitate Star Trek, and it goes horribly wrong. But doesn't it sometimes go well, or does it ever go well? Do we ever imagine some kind of future possibility in our media, and then actually imitate it, and that's an improvement? Is it
Oh, an
just
improvement.
bad? Could it be an improvement? I don't know.
Well, first thing, Babylon 5, I don't know if you've seen it, but it is a good show. I liked it a lot. What's interesting also with the Star Trek is that all the humanoid figures all speak our language, and it's English. So they're like, the future is American, basically. That's one of the like biggest foundational blocks that the whole universe is sitting upon. And and then what was the last bit you just said there? Because I had a brain fart.
Oh, just that when we have to imagine these like fantastical futures or whatever, then we imitate them maybe. And so
yes, we do.
Can it ever be positive? Like, does it always move us away from reality, or does it ever move us in better tune with reality?
Yeah, we see like it's interesting to see cars, and as we kind of like moved into like the era of electric cars and smartphones and stuff like that, they started to kind of look retro real. So they more looked like they imagined the future car would look like. So we kind of like modeled our cars on like a parody of what their ridiculous thing was. And it's like a weird marketing loop or something like this, where it's a nostalgic inside joke that you and I know about that we're not going to talk about, Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of funny to me, actually.
Well, it's interesting how we can be really aware of how media is terrible mind control for terrible things. But at least historically, or at least in the maybe World War II, post-World War II kind of consensus thing, we did have these stories of like, media gets into, like in the Cold War, like media get, people behind the Iron Curtain or whatever, or like they're trying to get media from America, and that they feel that it's actually bringing them into contact with reality to like live these dreams of the West. So it is, it's not always, maybe it's not always negative.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was our story, was that it's always great, and that's kind of like blasting our stuff into outer space and like putting all our stuff on a record. Like, man, when the aliens find this, they're just gonna,
they'll be like eating it.
But like in our imagination, they're just like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna come worship us or something. But it is interesting how like it goes both ways. But
yeah, they'll be like they'll get here and it'll be like the post office version. It'll be their post office Aporia version.
Yeah.
When they get here, they'll be like, "What the fuck?" They like, yeah. They were like, "This is not like the thing that you sent us."
Yeah, like Galaxy Quest, kind of.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, dude.
Because see, that's kind of what that was about, and like, is that true or not? The idea that the aliens watch this fake thing, but the fake thing has a deeper truth.
Okay.
And then they have to LARP the fake thing, and then it becomes real.
But even more so, like, here's where it gets really weird. Here's where it gets super, super weird. maybe the aliens only exist because we imagine them into existence.
Right.
And then they fed off of our own imagination. Like, what if that were the case? Like they only existed because of our fears or whatever, and so we somehow conjured these beings into existence. We gave demons bodies basically in our imaginal, and then but we're so stupid that the demons became stupid. They didn't even realize that they were made by us, and then they started like worshiping us or something. This is kind of getting out there, bro. Getting out
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
I don't even smoke weed anymore.
yeah, me neither. I never really have.
It's overrated, really, like everything.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Meet Joe Black?
Yes.
What did you think of that one?
I I don't have a lot of thoughts about it. I have seen it, but like mostly I remember that an early meme on the internet was when he gets hit by the car and then flies through the air and gets hit by the other car. And
Yeah,
people were like watching the gif of that as if it was real, and I was like, that's Brad Pitt's stunt double.
and the peanut butter. Ann is calling. I got to take this. Sorry.
So, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't believe in the aliens. I was having an argument with that guy. Not an argument, but I was talking to that Steve guy who I guess Paul's going to talk to. And he was saying that we should believe the UAP stuff because of the eyewitnesses, the eyewitness testimony. And he was saying that all eyewitnesses, like that everything we know is kind of through eyewitnesses and stuff, and that we don't have hard proof of most things that are real, and that this is like why we should believe the UAPs. But I was like, I don't know. I think it's a little different to, accept eyewitness testimony that a murder happened or who did a murder or something like that, versus eyewitness testimony that there's like aliens in a bunker. Because, I look at it as like if somebody told me that my neighbor turned into a bug, I think I'm going to need more than eyewitness testimony on that. It would take a lot of circumstantial evidence to just convince me that he might have turned into a bug, or that it's more likely that he turned into a bug. But beyond a reasonable doubt, turned into a bug, this thing that I've never known to happen or be possible to happen. So then it kind of seems like people have just watched a lot of like, how likely is this aliens thing, or did we just watch it on TV? Kind of seems like we made it up, and now we believe it. Those are my thoughts. Yeah, so like I agree. about the eyewitness testimony on, but it's that thing of like so much goes into determining whether this thing is possible, or like when to believe circumstantial evidence. Like enough circumstantial evidence and the right eyewitness testimony, maybe you believe like, well, it makes sense that this could have happened, or maybe it's more than likely even that it happened. But like, you know, media and the government telling you stuff, I guess I have a different... Yeah, I think it is about trust. And maybe I just don't trust the origin of the alien narrative. I also think that people talk about trusting the people who reported the UFOs and stuff, who are a lot of which are just normal people. But it's that thing of they're normal people who believe in aliens and UFOs and these things. Like you know, they aren't inventing it each time. Like apparently people saw the Foo Fighters in World War II, but right away it was turned into media and making movies about flying saucers and stuff. So I do sometimes wonder, like, well, if you looked into all the reporting of people interacting with Elvis's ghost, or a survived Elvis, or a Mecca Elvis, I imagine that you'd be able to fill many books with those as well. So trust is an interesting thing. I'd also say I don't necessarily dismiss people who see Elvis. It's just one of those things of, it's a lot easier to convince me that you saw Elvis spiritually than if you saw Elvis physically.
Thanks for holding it down.
No problem.
Yeah. You know, do you ever? How's your experience been with live streaming? On you, like, have you noticed? Let's say, what are some of the negative kind of effects? Do you have any of those yet?
Of streaming?
Yeah.
I do think it's can be kind of a drug, because you know it's a lot more intense to record your conversation and broadcast your conversation live, and basically be, you know, on TV, and kind of like how our minds think of what's happening if our formation was, you know, in the right decades, I guess. So I definitely noticed that it's like, you know, very exciting. And then there can be kind of like, ooh, you know, but I also feel like I'm getting addicted to just the social, because I'm coming from a decade of isolation. So then it's like finding a new balance of like, you know, I think it's actually good that there's more social,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, I can feel like jonesing for, you know, like I start to think like, man, I need to stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like as if I'm gonna get some. And that might just be that I want the social interaction, but I don't want to be like chasing social interaction because of like a compulsion.
Yes. Well, yeah, I think the only way it should be permissible that you could chase social interaction, yeah, on a compelled basis or something, is if it involves smells, where not just the smells of your own home. Like you have to be in places where you encounter foreign smell. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. It does. There is a performative thing, and it just has to be said. I mean, it's not like we're dancing like a monkey or something. Sometimes it feels like that, but
I don't know
yeah,
what
I
you're
mean,
talking
there's definitely a layer or two or eight, and so that's part of it. Um, I think the social thing that you're talking about is a good instinct. Maybe that's a way of thinking of this stuff. Like instincts are good, like we have them, and that they should be nurtured, but um, not entirely in the in this safe context.
Well, yeah, and like you need balance. It's just like you need balance, and um, you know
Seemingly safe. Sorry,
what's that?
it's seemingly safe. I should say, not. I can't refer to it as a safe context.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
only seemingly safe.
Well, yeah, and like coming back from Austin felt like detox in a way because of being with real people in real life for 3 days, uh, just to a degree that I haven't for many, many years. So
Mhm.
then, like, oh, now I'm just like in my house again. It was very weird. Uh,
Oh, dude. Yeah. Um.
and that gets confusing too, because you're like, do I just like move to Austin and go to, go to Rigel's church and just like let's keep this going. Like maybe they'd let me rent this Airbnb. I could just live in this Airbnb, maybe.
Yeah, live in the dome, the Earth Dome. Yeah, why not, bro?
Yeah,
Can I rent your Earth Dome?
yeah. Put me up in your Earth Dome.
There was uh when I first like started encountering actually sober minded interactions with large numbers of people. What I mean by sober minded is like no mind altering chemicals other than nicotine and caffeine. I would go to conferences often because I live in an area where conferences in the recovery community are really popular. Like there's a lot of them, and they're all hosted by nobodies for nobodies, and they're very similar to kind of what estuary conferences are. Um, and like if you're not kind of prepared for uh, the physiological effects of a room full of people, kind of like the waves that you can't see, kind of, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they say, like there's even like um, the scientists say that there are waves that your heart puts out and all this stuff that in the same room with people. So the vibes are real. Vibes are real, and if you're like swimming in vibes for a couple days, and they're, I mean, and like they are robust because everything's heightened. You're in a celebratory mode. Everything is like jacked right to 11, and yeah, there's like I remember the first time of there's this place. It's called Green Lake, and every year there's like this kind of a local one of the local groups puts on a conference up there, and it's like families come out from all over the area, and that was born in a time where there wasn't a lot of conferences, So it's one of the older ones, and it has like a seniority of care about it. People like it, and they hype it up. And some dude invited me like in my first year of recovery, and I was like, I'm not going to that shit. That sounds dumb as hell, dude. He's like, dude, you're just gonna go for the day. You should come with me. I said, all right, dude. So I went with them, and I went up there and we crashed out at one of the cabins up there. A bunch of the people I know rented a cabin and they let us stay there, and it was so great, dude. And we went Saturday night and we stayed for the speaker on Sunday morning, and then after that we left. And I was riding back, I felt like this buzz, like I felt like I was like, because I know what a buzz feels like, dude. This was a buzz, and it was like, whoa, that was incredible. And maybe I don't know. I'm not so sure that might just be what we're made for. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. That might be exactly what we're made for. That to me, like when I have language for it and I can look back on my own experience. I can map on something like that's actually the physiological effects of worship, basically.
Well, for some reason, that makes me think of this thing I've been thinking about a lot, which is about, I guess it's about scale. Like earlier, you were talking about like fame a little bit and micro fame,
Mm-hmm.
and like the scale of the fame if it's thousands versus millions of people. And I've been thinking about this thing of how like Taylor Swift can't care about every fan.
Yes.
Like they care about her, but can she care about her fan? And then I think about the scale of it. Like, I care about my pinky toe, but do I care about the cells in the toe? Do I care about the individual parts that make up the cells? Do I care about the atoms? Like at a certain point, we're not good at that level of care. And what you were just saying made me think of there's this singer who was in the I'm forgetting his name right now. I'm bad with names. But there's this dude, and he was talking about performing and how he was playing bigger and bigger venues. And he said when you get to the size of a venue, when you get to like festivals, and there's 1,000 people or something, he said that you can just feel the terror. That there's a specter of terror in everybody there because it's just dangerous to have this many people around, and our physiology is not used to it, and it is not okay. And so I wonder if there's a scale thing there where, like, maybe we're supposed to be around 10 people all the time, 5 people all the time, 20. Even like after Midwestern, it seemed like a lot of people went into like a dip after the event, or it was kind of like too much. And that's like a couple, you're spending time with like a couple hundred people all day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the kind of non-event event or the non-conference event that we went to, so much smaller, and it felt a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why even like at the Midwestern, the pre-event that we had at the barbecue site, I don't know if you were at that, but there was like I don't know, maybe a couple hundred people there. We didn't expect it to get like that, and but a lot of the folks did break down into like groups of 10. I mean, we're all sitting in the same room, but we were outside, but. And then you have people who are kind of like expected to go around and say hello to everybody because you're trying to be like hospitable and welcome. Come to our thanks for coming out and to spend your attention and time with us. Yeah, it's the links in the description. yeah, so like thanks for coming, and we appreciate, and this is great, and and I know what it's like to want to meet, like, you know, uh, Grim Grizz or something like that, like, and like that's exciting, but yeah, so like those characters, those micro characters or whatever, there's a lot of weird shit that happens. So when we were up in what's that place? The northwest Estuary. There was something so bizarre about everything about that was just bizarre, and in a good way. But it was also it was like this kind of there was a weird tension all the time because the 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 kind of like um the tension in from the topics was there underlying, and then there was like there was a lot, there was a small concentration, there's like 80 of us maybe, and a bunch of us were from here. And so when you see like when you first walk in and there's like Noah Foxman, Mark Parker, Grim Grizz, Luke Thompson, uh Paul, Sherry, I mean all the people, you're just like the internet is crawled out of the screen, and they
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
weird. I was standing right, and he's the most crazy one that I have a story about. But I was standing next to um, Firth, Jeremy Firth is his name. He does a show with Sherry on
Yeah.
the Saints. I'm standing right next to the guy, and I didn't recognize him. He looked like an entirely different person in person. And it was really weird. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, you're Jeremy. It's like, yeah, dude. And I'm like, and the whole weekend, that whole weird, it was like this reverse. It was like a hyper, uh, what do you call that? Uncanny valley, like this hyper valley of like, this is weird. I don't know what to make of it, man. And but yeah, all that conspired to make me feel very strange when we left. But also, like, there was like this jacked up intensity about that whole thing because we were all invested in the time that we were spending together too, and so there was it was very emotional, and Nate had his sickness and stuff. It was just a lot of layers of things that are just like making the story such a rich story for that weekend. You don't have an owl behind your left shoulder, but you do have a skull.
Yep.
Now I'm getting a call here.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Oh, not too bad. Well, I don't know. I have a huge bruise on my arm.
Damn. What's that from?
Like I tore a muscle or something. I went to the hospital to make sure it wasn't like requiring surgery or anything, but it doesn't really hurt, but it looks bad. So
Looks badass.
yeah. Well, the kids are a little scared, but anyway.
They need to be scared once in a while, right? Just look at this.
that's
Look
true.
at daddy. Look at daddy.
I'm a purple person now, so
They have a song about that.
being a purple person.
It's the one-eyed, one-horn.
Oh yeah, the purple people eater.
People eater. Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah. Ezra has left the building, and you are here. Talk to me, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I was going to say hi to Ezra because we did get to meet at the Austin event or whatever. So I was there for a brief.
Ezra's kind of one of the dudes that kind of looks a little different in person, too. Did you notice that? Not entirely, but just like the way that the face looks in person is different than it does on the screen. Like, I can't tell if I'm more handsome on screen or in person. Oh, that was the dude. Alan. Alan's eyes, dude, he looks crazy in person. Yeah,
he looks crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, some of the people they did look different. I've noticed, but it was just all like, wow, this is like really high definition like video. Seeing them in person, like, because obviously, when you look at like the screen this big, you're going to miss a lot of stuff. But
yeah.
I
Like
think
Neil looks exactly like Neil and that he does on screen.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
interesting.
But you know what's weird too? I feel like when I saw people in person, then I could like see more of their in-personness when I see them again on the screen. Have you encountered that?
Yeah, well, yeah, because like I guess even with a guy like with Paul, yeah, I think you have a kind of like a embodied context now that kind of attaches to them. It doesn't leave them behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
once yeah, I think that's true. It's very interesting. But I also wonder about this too. Like, so if you like, let's say if there's somebody like you and I have been seeing on television since we were kids, you know, like I don't know, Alex Trebek, you know, and Alex Trebek walks by in the coffee shop, and you're not really sure because you're like, is that really Alex Trebek or not? Like, is it the same kind of phenomena? You know what I mean? Where, or is it just the like this head-on screen where you don't get a whole lot of the other angles of it? Like in television and movies, you get these different angles of the actor, kind of, but there's still, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so you have a more complete brain map or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those weird things where it's like, I don't know, because people are all like self-conscious about how they appear to themselves, like in the mirror, and then they don't believe it, like when other people say they look nice or whatever. But I don't know. I also think like I like people that look like I like the fact that a person looks like who they are, more so than like one person being objectively ugly or objectively beautiful or whatever, because it's nice just to like know that a person is a person. Like it's weird how people get surgery and then like all the people that get surgery just all look like this same generic version of beauty. Like what's the point of that? It's like not special because it's ununique. I don't know.
I totally agree with that. I think
I
it's
think it's
sick.
because
Like,
people don't really want to be special.
Yeah.
I think it's
Sorry.
a kind of dying actually to like do that and it's like I think that people don't understand what beauty is. They don't understand that beauty is the relationship between the abstract mathematical kind of beauty and then the specific person. And it's like, like Brad Pitt or something has been this like icon for many years, and it's like it's not what he looks like, it's the combination of what he looks like. The relation of that to this kind of like, this kind of like trailer park whatever vibe he has going on, that's what we all like. We don't just like the abstraction of features or whatever.
Yeah.
We really see with our hearts in that way, I think.
I wonder
All
how,
that
let's say,
story.
I don't know if our sync got out of sync or not, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
It seems
I was
natural to me.
okay. I was wondering what. Yes, my interrupting is very natural. I was wondering what the like the relationship of perception and beauty would be in pre a pre artificial image world. You know, like what you know. Because sometimes we kind of like talk about beauty as kind of like this almost an objective standard. I know that that's not the case, but I wonder, like, would I be a really beautiful son of a bitch in like 600 AD or something, versus like Brad Pitt or something, you know? Yeah, I don't know what, or like, or let's say feminine beauty. Is there like qualities that have always been beautiful, uh, from uh, or is our obsession with images has it tainted what we view to be beautiful? I guess. Excuse
Uh,
me.
well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's like you have the thing in your memory of like who were the prettiest girls you knew when you were like a teenager or something, and you probably think of them as being like really more beautiful than they are in comparison to like all of the women on the internet today. But because you had that more limited you know, frame. So it's like if you're, you could be a top 100 in a village of 100. Like, so that's like, that, there's something there. But I don't know. It's interesting. I did hear something that was kind of freaked me out. Like, cause we had to talk about like, for a long time about people talking about like being exposed to like too much stuff on the internet and like this beauty standards and things like that, and but then I saw like this thing about like now with kids like being exposed to stuff like like I was exposed to stuff when I was too young to be exposed to it, but what kids are being exposed to now is like they get exposed to things that are adult but they're like cartoony at a time when they're like more into cartoons. And so it's like it bridges that it like because this is what I felt. It was like I saw something when I was like that was very mature when I was young, and I was like it like made me want to like grow up. Like I wanted to get to like the age appropriate level of what to like make sense of it. But now kids are seeing something that's like a weird, mashup of 10-year-olds aesthetics designed for a 10-year-old with adult themes. And it's like making it harder for them to like make the leap into like finding real women attractive or something. So that's pretty messed
up. Related. I remember. Okay, have you guys done this experiment where? Did you guys see the movie Never Ending Story?
Yes.
Yep.
But I don't remember.
When you were a kid, did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see it as an adult?
No.
Have you seen it as an adult, Ezra?
I have, yeah.
Okay. My experience with it is, as a kid, I bought into all of it. Like I didn't realize how bad the actual, like the special effects were.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just bought into it, and I was totally into it, and I could see what they wanted to show me. Right, I was seeing what they wanted me to see, right, and I bought into it. Then as an adult, I watched the movie, and I thought, this is the worst special effects I've ever seen in my life. This is really bad. It's just horrible, and I could see like all the flaws in it. And I wonder if there is like honestly, like when we talk about perception and what you see, how much of it is actually really what you want, what is actually there, or how much your mind has really, really made something beautiful for you to accept. And so, yeah. I think it kind of relates to what you're saying in a little way.
Yeah. I wonder if that's like one of those uncanny valley things where it's like it's because it was approaching like looking good for compared to what you saw before. Because I feel like if you see a cartoon movie or something where it has like really simple like stylistic drawings, it's not realistic looking at all. It doesn't even bother you because you're just like viewing it as like symbolic representations, and you just like can immerse yourself in the story. But once you start to go on the path towards making it look realistic, then it's like you have to do a really good job, or else the fakeness of it will stand out. But I don't know. Like I watched the old Narnia movies with my kids, and like where the animals are all like people in weird costumes, and like Aslan is like a big stuffed animal. And it was like, yeah, it doesn't look that great, but I still like could enjoy it. But I don't know, maybe that was because like I was already familiar with the story. I don't know. That's another
Uh,
one that makes things weird when you're familiar with the story first.
So, and I want to hear your thoughts real quick, but like what just came to mind is a phrase, something, and it might be real. It's something like epistemic affluence, where it's like you just get so used to like the highest quality of stuff and you just take everything else for granted. And then if you encounter some bum shit, you're like, bum shit, bro. And it kind of, yeah. Ooh.
I think it's a spiritual thing.
Mm.
And I think in that sense it's something that you can grow, or it's even maybe a skill to an extent, because like I don't know, in the arts myself, like I got really into like lo-fi when that used to mean not like beats. It used to mean like people recorded it themselves in their house or something, and it was like low quality compared to the mainstream radio or whatever. Or I really love people like Daniel Johnston, who's kind of a sort of insane person who records his music himself, very low quality, a lot of it. And I feel like there's a way to just to like care for this thing that you're being given, that you can like get into what they were going for. And it's like I can listen to Daniel Johnston and I kind of hear the Beatles. Yeah, like I really do hear what it would be like, and it can sound that beautiful to me. And I feel like I can do the same thing with like someone's face, where I just like get, I try to like, yeah, see with my heart in that way. And then of course, you can, so I think that this is like the reciprocal opening and narrowing thing, and that you can deceive yourself like this is beautiful when it's really ugly or something. And but it also goes the other way, that things are ugly when they're really beautiful. And then the question you're left with is the spiritual question of what's actually beautiful and good and true and what's not. And so, to me, like AI music is very uncanny valley, a lot of it. And even a lot of pop music is uncanny valley. It's like so good I don't like it.
Mm.
But
Not like
other
sleep
people would
token,
probably
though.
hate the stuff that I listen to because it would just sound like,
Well, yeah, what's interesting is I know I saw that Daniel way back, the Daniel Johnston movie or whatever, The
Yeah.
Devil and Daniel Johnston.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it's funny because saying like the Beatles, I think is such an interesting thing to compare to, because like even though like they were a cutting edge recording of their time and all that, and it's all very good recordings. I think maybe it's almost like maybe they confuse people in some ways, because what was really good about them is the songs. Because it's weird, because if you ever hear like a cover of a Beatles song, it can be like in a different genre. It can be by people that aren't very good, and it's like it always still hits because like the song, like the DNA of the song is good. It's like like whatever the story part is, but then
Maybe.
the trappings are not as like it's confusing because the Beatles had both. It had the good song and it was recorded well, but like you can hear the good song through the bad recording. But I think a lot of stuff is like people thinking the good recording is the good song, but if the essence of the song isn't there,
yeah.
it's
But
not.
what if you never heard the Beatles song? What if you never heard Hard Day's Night by the Beatles?
Well, I will hear, sometimes I'll hear a song. There's been times where I've heard a cover of a song that I didn't know was a Beatles song, because they have a lot of songs. I mean, I haven't listened to their whole catalog front to back, and be like, man, that's a good song. And then be like, that's a Beatles song. Or like, oh, that was like a Bob Dylan song or something. It's interesting when you hear it in a cover, because and then you find out like, oh, of course it was a good song because it has this like pedigree of good songwriters. So there is a quality. It's not just because they are the Beatles. Like they're the Beatles because of the songs they wrote.
Yeah. To me, that's like heaven and earth. It's like that the song is like this pattern, abstract, higher level. It's the thing that's supposed to be true in some important way. And then you got like the instantiation of the song, which is this earthly thing. And are those things in balance, and then it's good or not type of thing. And I feel like a lot of pop music, like even how they construct pop music today, it's often they purposefully use melodies that you already know from other pop songs, and they recombine them in different ways so that you have a physiological reaction like you already like it and you already know it. And the idea of like what the lyrics are or how the song's even constructed is all last. Like the overall pattern of it is the last thing that they do. It's much more
But there's
focused on
something
physiological reaction.
there's something pointed to tradition though in what you just said, because I think there are traditions that tend to emerge, right? Like you have well, I mean, if you were living another another time where pop music is in a lot of ways, I mean, like these is kind of like the new kind of instantiations of worship in some way, right? I mean, like, so you have like these let's say a certain set of chords or progression shows up in this song and also shows up in this song, and I think those are almost like the definition of tradition in a strange. That's how traditions kind of form, right? You have like these
I
things
agree
that
with that.
happen.
It's like pop almost is folk music.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it's kind of reverse engineered, like what will work for the masses, it's like that kind of makes it like a reverse engineered folk music or something.
Yeah, but if it's like, this is another thing though. Like if it's like, if somebody tries to kind of market that in a serious way and it's not genuine, people won't fall for it. Right. And I think like if it's marketed in a way and the person is actually genuine, or at least somehow the story of the person is genuine, I think they can still fall for some of that stuff. I wish I can stick around. I gotta get going though. Damn it.
You're
'Cause I
addicted
had
to
to-
screaming.
I have a yeah, I have a new thing that I'm a new thing starting up tonight. I'm really excited about that. So I have to go and meet the guy to get the key to open the place. So
Wow.
Cool.
I haven't even like gotten out of my clothes yet. Just been a bum, dude. And I'm just straight bumming. But I appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for coming out. It's been a very fun conversation. Great to see you, Michael. I haven't seen you in a while, so it's really good to talk to you.
Yeah. I've been just writing books, sort of trying to, but that's like a very long process. So yeah.
You look so happy though. You do. You look full of joy right now. Like
Okay,
I noticed
that's
this
good.
about you. Had like this kind of like easiness about you, which I really like.
Despite your injury.
That's the one thing. Oh, yeah, yeah. Despite your badassery, sometimes that's one thing I don't like about streaming is sometimes it does suck that chill joy out of me, and it can make me serious. I'm just trying to be transparent. So it's off topic. Whatever. All right, I gotta go, guys.
Good.
All right. Good to see you.
Bye, everybody. Excuse me.